Osmo, Wells only and his guests are not responsible for any losses you may accrue from having weak hands. Where the haters at? Y'all bitches still ain't showed up. And now, right, we got Hex, flawless uptime. People thought this was a joke. Now they're mad at the chart.
This is Wales Only. Glad you guys can make it out. I'm making some claims that are pretty outlandish, but I can back them up. Boom. End of story. There is no other crypto out there, so don't get it twisted. If you don't understand where you're parking your money, you're gonna pay the consequences for that, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. Boom. We're obliterating everybody, literally. There is nobody else that comes close to what Hex has done. Boom. Oh, it's about to get funky. Funkier than you could have ever imagined. You know, Richard Hart is a boss. Hex is literally the best thing on the planet. It's simple mathematics. Good morning, good evening, happy Easter, whatever it is, whatever you're doing. Shout out to everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day so far, and let's hope it gets better. Tell you guys what, we're entering a point in time where you just got to decide what you're gonna do and what you're not gonna do. And I gotta start off by just saying, whatever quacky thing they come up with, you gotta just not acknowledge it. You don't even just don't even talk shit about it. Just don't even give it any relevance, because then it becomes real, and that's how they get you, right? And this is the thing that people, are gonna have a hard time understanding and trying to battle. How do you make sense of nonsense? You can't. And that's how they win in many instances. How do you make sense of nonsense? And this is what people that really are not tapped in with respect to what is going on, in the sense that, those are not mistakes, those are intentional actions. And people really don't understand. They think people are incompetent and all that. These politicians are doing this stuff because they're dumb, or how could they, blah blah. Like, yo, it's all on purpose. Nothing is a mistake. Like, it's really that simple. You it's like I always say, you literally cannot believe that whatever exists now is what people wanted at some point. Like, it just doesn't even make sense, right? And then once you really come into understanding how obvious that is, right? Because until you really get to that point, there's no reason for you to think anything else, right? Like, there really is no reason for you to think that you have any need to hold on to anything. And that's difficult for people to wrap their heads around. Give me a second, guys. I think I just got a knock on the door. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. All right, we're gonna go. So yeah, you guys gotta just understand when you're being played and not engage. That's ultimately what it boils down to. Because when you submit to ridiculousness, well, I mean, you can't beat that, right? And that's kind of what's weird about the whole situation. And, how do you make sense of, again, nonsense? And you can't. So when they perpetually do the things that they're doing, like making up stuff, like they're doing now, trying to destabilize your mental compass, right? Because that's what it becomes. Uh, I mean, it just how do you battle that? And you just don't. I mean, how do you? This is really this simple, right? How do you battle a toddler? And the answer is you don't. You let them cry, cry, cry in a little corner until they're done. And if they never finish, well, then they'll just die crying. Who cares? Like ain't nobody got time for that shit. So, that's basically how you gotta treat these people. Because it's like I've said since moment one, they are not just gonna stop doing what they're doing because you feel like it. Like you're not relevant at all. What you think, what you desire, all of that, irrelevant. If it was relevant, you know, the world wouldn't be in the obvious position it's in now. And this is from a completely optical standpoint, right? Because when you look outside, you don't see any of the crazy stuff they try to put in your face on social media, in media in general, right? Because it's not just social media, clearly. Um, and these are the kinds of things, right? That how do you battle them? How do you battle what seems to be a losing battle, or how do you fight what seems to be a losing battle? And this is how they want you to think. They don't want you to think that what you're thinking, and what you're feeling, and all of these things. Also, Happy New Year. That's right. Happy New Year. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If you've been rocking with me for a while, shout out to you. Um, it's not easy being a person that doesn't buy into nonsense. Seems to be the common thing that people like to do for whatever reason, and you just can't battle that. You just can't. I don't know. It's like people when you in another world, nobody can bring you into reality. And that is what scares me about what we would consider a crazy person. But, whenever I encounter a seemingly crazy person, they're not that crazy. They're not crazy at all, in fact, because they know when to not fuck around. At least that's my experience, because they never really fuck with me. So, I don't know why people are so easy to manipulate, but that pretty much boils down to the crux of everything that happens in our society. There's a reason you want to be in front of a TV or whatever. If it's not a TV, it's a phone. If it's not a phone, it's a laptop computer, whatever. Point is, people just want to be connected to stuff. And at some point, you got to ask yourself, what's the ROI on that time? And there comes a point in time when you're not doing anything engaging the so-called internet if all you're doing is not learning anything. So how do you position yourself to not fall prey, right, to stale information? The only way to do that is by just being honest with yourself and always reassessing what you know. There's a thing about self-reflection. Not a common thing, but something that is worth doing. Something that's worth learning to do young. Because by the time you get to a decent age, you don't have any flaws or whatever. You know how to control yourself. Because discipline at the end of the day is controlling yourself. It's nothing more. How do successful people achieve the goals that they're trying to achieve? It's by utilizing discipline. You don't climb a mountain by waking up saying I feel like I'm gonna climb a mountain today and then just going to climb a mountain. It's just unfortunately not how it works unless you just happen to live on a mountain, right? Um, Not many people do though, so they can't literally do that. So therefore, you require some effort, some energy, time, practice, all these things that you wouldn't normally take into account just to go do something like that because you don't normally do it. It's like doing push-ups. When you don't do them, your body got to get used to you doing them. It's real simple. That's the only way you're gonna get to do more push-ups. Same thing with any other thing. It's all the same. And that comprehension with respect to discipline, right, and how it applies to your progress, um, that's the biggest differentiator between a person that's successful and a person that's just, flying by the seat of their pants and thinking that they're doing something by going from one thing to the next. And it might look like that on the surface really quick, but it just doesn't work that way. You got to plan things out and you got to see them through, period. There is no other way around that. You have to see things through. Um, and that's just how it goes. Um, let's apply this to crypto, right? Because it's really the main focus of topic. It's really the main topic of focus for us at a high level. How do you find that success in crypto? You really have to sit back and look at what people have done simply to achieve any measure of success, or at least what you consider success, right? Because even that is not a standard thing, and it's little things like that when you add them up, they paint a completely different picture than what you actually have in your head. And until you're analyzing those different facets of information, it's almost impossible to make sense of anything. Imagine a life where you don't pay attention to any of the socio-economic things that go on and exist and impact reality. Racism, discrimination of any type, unemployment, underemployment, um, just a world where obstacles exist. I mean, that's basically what that is, right? Because everything that is in 2024 is a function of bad policy. Or we allow to be bad policy, right? Because we don't control anything. We don't decide to control anything. We literally let other motherfuckers determine what we control. It's crazy. And thank you, Hex Monkey, for the super chat. I appreciate it, brother. X Monkey says, "Thanks for streaming all this time and for still being here. Wells, you consistently remind us what's at stake. The message is hard to hear sometimes, but important. Yeah, it's very important because you know what? Sadly, no matter how hard it is to hear, you know, the good people are doing so little for it to not matter that these people are doing what they're doing that it has to be a constant focus. The reason crypto is relevant is because good people do nothing consistently. Period. Otherwise, you wouldn't need crypto. I don't know if people realize that. People really need to wake the hell up to what's going on. It's literally our fault. And when guys like me speak and we sound how we sound, people want to act like they're all better and high and mighty. And no, you're just a dumb fuck because you've been trained to be a compliant bitch. That's what's true. You don't gotta like it, but it is a fact. And here's another fact: one person cannot move the world. So no matter how obvious it might be to me, people like me, everybody needs to be in agreement in order for this bullshit to work. Because otherwise, everyone will just remain a frustrated fuck, unhappy regardless of all the material crap that they have. I mean, that's what most people are chasing, whether they realize it or not. Because why else would they be needing to flip from shitcoin to shitcoin as if there's something in the shitcoin? Is there anything in a shitcoin? I've seen nothing come from a shitcoin. I mean, the closest thing to be anything that come from a shitcoin, everyone knows about. And I'm not talking about Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? You guys all know what I'm talking about. It's the original shitcoin. And the funny thing is that that's not even the original shitcoin, but whatever. That's what people consider it, the original shitcoin nowadays. So it's fine. But the one with the dog, right? That's the original shitcoin. And the only reason you all know about it is because of one guy. Unless you've been in crypto a long time, you only know about it because one guy talked about it. That's it. Nothing else. And who is he? Not even a crypto personality. He's not relevant to the fucking quote unquote industry in any which way. But yeah, people hang on to that individual's every word, regardless of topic. There is no expert in the sense that you can listen to this guy and he's gonna not lie about whatever's happening in this area. Like that doesn't exist, guy or girl, in the mainstream. And all these people that you guys like to fucking follow, pretty much minus Richard, all those cocksuckers are fucking mainstream. Period. That's why you hear about them everywhere. You don't hear anybody saying anything about Richard Hart. The only marketing we get that's worth a damn is the SEC case. And even that is low key. And those are facts, not opinions. It's not what I think, it's the fucking truth. Because nobody in Hex actually really, that streams and is visible to a certain extent and has the ability to do so. They don't actually care to promote it. It's all really a circle jerk. I mean, all you got to do, because this is what people do, is run bullshit ads wherever, however. But people won't do that. And again, you see these dumbass crypto ads all over the world, man. All over. So that's one of the reasons why nobody knows Hex or whatever you want to call it. Because the only reason anybody knows any other crypto is because centralized powers decided it's time for you fag baggers to know. No other reason. Literally no other reason. Because until that point in time came along, you didn't even think of the fucking thing. Electronic money was not a thought to you because you didn't even understand that dollars were already digital money. And people still have a hard time wrapping their head around that, pretending that they fucking know. And guess what? We're already in 2024. They're lining up CBDCs all over. China has already fully implemented them. Well, Asia in general, for the most part, mostly fully implemented them. China, South Korea, all these high tech areas. Japan is definitely on track to make that happen, if not already. The US is slotted to, I mean, it's already up and running here. You just don't want to accept it because then that would mean everything that you expect to happen in between is null and void. And that's exactly right. It's already null and void. Because the question isn't, what are you going to do when it's here? It's already here. You call it the dollar and you get paid in it every day. You think they're going to change it just because you are aware? When you don't even know how to defend yourself, you don't even know your basic rights. Who the fuck are you? And this is where me and most other people in cryptocurrency split off because they think that because they understand one facet of something, that they can make a case for this one thing, irrespective of everything else that's obliterated with respect to your basic rights. If you don't have the right to free speech, you don't have the right to anything. If you don't have the right to privacy, you don't have the right to anything. If you don't have the right to defend yourself, and you don't have the right to anything. And nobody has those rights. I don't know if you guys even know that because you're too busy with your head up your ass thinking you fucking know something about some irrelevant ass shit. I mean, these are facts, not even my opinion. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason they don't show Schoolhouse Rock anymore. I mean, damn. Right now, we're on track to completely obliterate the Third Amendment because it's already happening overseas in Europe. It's happening all over that landmass. At least optically, it seems to be the case because that's what they show us. And if you don't know what the Third Amendment is, it is a quartering of troops from the other side. So you see how they're taking over schools, not parks, public recreation centers and stuff like that. All these so-called public conveniences, they're taking those conveniences from the public and giving it to the invaders, i.e., the redcoats, i.e., whatever you want to call them. But that's literally already happening in certain places, and we'll get into. I'll show a video here in a video or two, so we can start getting into the sauce of the stream. Um, you know, where does it end? That's just the beginning. And nobody is stopping anything from happening. It's just happening. So what are you going to do when it happens in your town next? Because it's going to happen. It's already happened all over Europe. Switzerland, Sweden, Netherlands, all these fucking countries have already been destroyed. And all those fucking dumbasses is just there twiddling their fucking thumbs, waiting for them boys to get activated so they can fucking do whatever they got to do. And it's gonna happen when they're least expecting it, because their asses are gonna be asleep in the little house, all comfortable, and them homeboys are gonna walk up in there, slice and dice, and they're not even gonna know what happened, unless they feel like it. I mean, this is already happening. All you gotta do is look. Like, I'm not making it up. There's certain parts of the world where this stuff is literally happening. They don't, when you see the so-called migrant crap they talk about New York and all of that, you don't see them being in the hood. They don't come here because they know they can't. They can't. Because guess what? All those goodies that they're getting given, oh, they just a target over here. Motherfucker knows they walking around with G's in their pocket. What the fuck you think that means? So what are you gonna do? You're not coming up here. You're gonna stay your ass in the ritzy area where you know motherfuckers ain't gonna say or do shit. And that's exactly how it happens. How did they gentrify, quote unquote, the neighborhoods? They got dumb motherfuckers that come in that were willing to overpay for what shit was worth. And they call that fixing it up. But all they did was price out the motherfuckers that could protect the area. So now all these areas that have been taken over by these so-called upscale folk, that's just free land now, free housing, free everything for anybody that wants it, because they're gonna get it. Because it's already written that Americans are soft shit, especially non-New Yorkers. It's always the people that are not from that place that allow these things to happen. It's never the people from that place. The people from that place are the ones you see in these videos that I show you that are saying, what the fuck is this? Because they don't understand, but they've been asleep for so long, it don't fucking matter that they don't understand. Too late, motherfucker. Now it's time to put up a shut up. And it's only a matter of when it happens to your area. Because you see, when they came through here in 2020, they had to come through here like a fucking bat out of hell. Because that was the only way. Next time, it won't be that way. They're going to have to come through here with guns and shit. Because nobody's just going to let that shit slide twice. Once is okay. Because who could have seen that coming? But 2 times? Nah, you got to be smarter than that. Because this is New York. This is not the middle of fucking nowhere, Minnesota. Why you think all these Somalians are plotting out there and not here? Like, there are some things, folks, that you just got to understand are obvious. When you're a mark, you're a fucking mark. And understand when a city motherfucker is telling you you a mark. You're a mark. So everybody's getting it. It doesn't matter whether you're in a city or not. And that's a very big common misconception about shit and how it's going down. The further out the way you are, and the more these motherfuckers are tapped into that area, the more fucked up it's gonna be. That simple. So it just depends where you're at. Because where I'm at, I don't see none of that shit you see on TV. But you would think it's happening here. But it ain't. And that's the point. You don't see no fucking military around here. You don't see no cops around here. You don't see none of that until they're ready to kill somebody or some shit like that. They're not out here otherwise. So you come around and visit if you want. They're not going to do shit for you. They have one mandate, and it ain't to serve and protect. Right? And we just talking about cops. We're not even talking about the military, because the people in the military, they don't even know what the fuck they're doing most of the time. And the funny thing about that is that pigs don't even less. So, these are things you just got to know. And if you don't, well, you're going to have a hard time moving forward. It don't really matter who you are, what you think. You don't know how these motherfuckers move. You don't know tactics. You don't know all these things. Then you're going to have to learn, or learn the hard way. Choice is yours. Right? Because at the end of the day, it's 2024. You got the feds knocking on people's doors. How about they fucking social media posts? I don't know if you're in tune with that. So you going ahead, keep acting like you ain't doing shit online with your face. Don't really matter. At this point, it's game over now for that shit. Because what's happened is that veil has been broken, where there is now definitely no first, no fourth. Six has definitely been out the window. They've been showing that with all the ridiculous Trump shit in the courts. And because it's not happening to you, you don't give a fuck, you don't care, you don't think it matters. But little do you know that it's the most important thing happening right now. Because once the six is lost, forget about the rest. Forget about it. All irrelevant. All irrelevant. Fifth, sixth, all irrelevant. Once those two are gone, which they pretty much are at this point, good luck. Don't matter who you are, what you know. All you gotta do is be pointed a witch, and that's it. We basically back at Salem witch trial days. Straight up. And everybody let it happen. Everybody let it happen. Everybody. Everybody they got out here looking they got here everybody out here looking for terrorists when the terrorist was in your face the whole time telling you to look for other motherfuckers. That's really what's happened in the past 20 fucking years. And people do not comprehend that, but they're about to comprehend now when they see what's happening in Canada and when they start seeing what's happening here. Because guess what? It's not happening in Mexico. It's not happening anywhere else. Shit's happening in the It's not happening in no third world countries. Third world countries are now second world. US is third world. Canada is fourth world. UK, Ireland, all them places, I don't even know where to categorize them, but they on some other shit out there. Because the Brits got nothing. They don't matter. They're irrelevant. It's like being a foreign person in Dubai or in Israel. You don't matter. Do you not understand how these people are the same yet? It's crazy. I really don't feel sorry for people after a certain point because they don't hide nothing from you. It's all the same. All the same. So let's get into these videos. Let's get into this crack. A lot of people are man, you just gotta want more for yourself, because these people don't care. And think about it. If you had the ability to dictate what is and what isn't, who the fuck is gonna stop you? Who? I mean, nobody. And I think people have a hard time rationalizing that reality because this is what we're living through. There are no checks and balances, motherfucker. Who's checking? Who's balancing? When you don't give a fuck, when that's your job. And then people think they deserve some type of respect or some shit. Like, you fucking stupid, You lucky I'm even cursing at you. Like, straight up. Like, that's where we're at. People like me are fucking doing people the favor of even talking out loud. That's a fact, not an opinion. Because guess what? A lot of motherfuckers should have just died from that goddamn death jab. And a lot of people would have. People like me wouldn't have been speaking up. So how about that one? I mean, that's how dumb people are. It's crazy. And then they really think they got a leg to stand on. Nah. You can just shut the fuck up. I mean, that's really what most people can do. Just shut the fuck up. Right? And what happens? They don't do that. They don't do that to the point that now it's a whole thing on Twitter that's old, by the way, where it's the best advice you ever got from a lawyer. Just shut the fuck up. Well, yeah, obviously. Duh. No shit. But people are so dumb and so ignorant that is something they didn't know because they're smart. They went to school and shit. They know what's up. Sure, sure they do. And this is the world that's making everything go round. A bunch of ignorant asses pretending that they're not. Pretending that everybody is lying to them and getting away with it. I mean, come on. Come on. Bill Gates lies every time he's on TV and people act like that dude actually is somebody. Wow. I mean, that dude been lying since I can fucking think. On TV live, and I'm a I'm technically a kid for the people I'm talking about, because I'm talking about at least 30 years of me completely understanding this dude's a fucking liar and a psychopath. And I'm only about to be 40. So where the fuck have you been for the past 30 something years? I mean, this dude's been lying his whole fucking adult life. And here he is carrying on, lying like it's nothing. Still. It's crazy, man. And people think they deserve some type of discussion, debate. Yo, no, you don't. You get none. You get none. You're the type of person that was ready to take the death jab. You don't get no fucking love. You don't get no conversation. You don't get nothing. You shut the fuck up and you listen to the adults when they tell you what to do. That's what you get to do, because you already showed your hand. You show you're not a dependable individual. You show you can't think critically. So you just got to shut the fuck up. That's just how the cookie crumbles. You know, let's just get into these videos real quick, man, and we'll then get into the markets and just break it down, because it's just crazy. We really live in a world where people think, just because they're alive, that's it. And I gotta tell you, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but no, being alive does not qualify you for any fucking thing. You just alive, motherfucker. And be happy nobody's killed you yet. Because guess what? Life is cheap. Your dumb ass. I mean, we live in an era where people are so fucking stupid that they can't even defend themselves to the point where they can justify their own existence. Somebody else has to do it for them. I mean, it happens in crypto, it happens in all facets of what we consider life. This video is a great way to go into that point. Let's tune in.
This is a queer fat club.
I'm queer and fat.
Okay, thank you for joining. We're just introducing ourselves at the moment.
Okay.
Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Joe?
Yeah, my name's Joe. I go by he, they, and I identify as 275 pounds.
Okay.
I feel like Jay's kind of making fun of me, though. I know it's kind of a shock. I know, kind of a new thing.
I'm just,
Do what?
I said I apologize.
Oh, no, you're good.
Are you comfortable leaving the group at the moment?
Why?
I'm not understanding why you're joining the group.
This is the queer and fat group now?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I came here for.
Okay. And you said you identify as fat?
Yeah.
Okay. This is just for fat-bodied people.
Yeah, I understand. I identify as a fat-bodied person.
I'm not understanding where you're coming from.
Are you guys comfortable with me here? I mean, I'm pretty chill on my end.
I'm not comfortable, no.
Can we take like a vote?
Come on. Yo, this is real life, man. This is real life in 2024. And the thing about it is that it makes a very salient point. If we're just allowed to believe whatever the hell we want, or make up that we are whatever we want, why not? Why not? Why not? That guy's completely justified. I mean, that's completely valid. Right? get everybody to vote in his favor because they know, he knows everybody's a dumbass. Because I mean, just for that type of club to exist, you got to be stupid. Like, yo, I used to be fat. You got to be a dumb motherfucker to think being fat is something you just are. Like, nah, man. You just dumb. You just dumb. Oh no, this is apparently what's happening in Canada. This is 3 minutes. At this point, I don't live in Canada. I don't know a lot of people that do. I don't have a lot of contacts up there. And if you do, confirm or affirm or deny. You know what I'm saying? Just let me know what the fuck, because I don't know anymore, man. I'm at the point where I don't know if any of this is just a movie or we should really be preparing for
The most amazing part of this story is that the CBC did this. They did an incredible piece of investigative journalism, like real journalism. They sent a 14-year-old actress undercover into a pediatric gender clinic somewhere in Quebec. She told this story, it's filmed, and she tells this story to the doctor. She has an eating disorder, and she went on YouTube or whatever, and she came across a trans influencer who also had an eating disorder, but realized that they were trans, and that's why they had the eating disorder. So then they transitioned and everything was wonderful. The problem solved. They feel great about themselves. She's telling this story to the gender clinician. Within 5 minutes, the clinician has asked her if she wants a mastectomy. Within 7 minutes, I think there's talk of a hysterectomy because internal organs can trigger dysphoria. And within 9 minutes, she's got a prescription for testosterone. No parents there. This is a 14-year-old girl telling the story that she basically self-diagnosed as trans because she saw someone online. So incredible piece of journalism, great article that came out with it. And then trans activists, a couple of weeks later, smashed the windows of the CBC headquarters in Montreal. And then they released this statement, bonkers, totally crazy statement. We have the right to experiment in our bodies, even if we make a mistake, we have the right to make these mistakes. The state should not be interfering. And then a whole lot of absolutely outrageous accusations about the far right. And if you carry on reporting like this transphobic reporting, we will fight back again. There will be further retaliation. That's what the statement says. But bear in mind what they are responding to. They're responding to a story about a 14-year-old who was put on testosterone after 9 minutes. And she basically told the doctor that she came to that conclusion online and she has an eating disorder. So that is why they smashed the windows, because they think that 14-year-old should have the right to experiment as she sees fit, even if it means making a mistake. That is actually what they're responding to. Of course, they're looking at it through their own very selfish lens of, I want to be able to modify my body however I choose. I want the state to pay for it. We don't want state interference, but we do want the state to fund it. And I don't care about the 14-year-old girl. They have no concern for the collateral damage, which is all of these young kids who they are just getting sucked into something way bigger than they understand. They're just interpreting their normal teenage angst and pubertal woes as being a sign that they are transgender. And then crazy doctors like this one in Quebec give them a prescription for testosterone. But these activists are they've already smashed windows, they're threatening retaliation. And this is only the beginning.
All right, guys. Tell me what you think in the chat. I mean, I don't know what to make of it. We have a Canadian in the chat. What's up, Hex Meridia? Shout out to you and the missus. Hope you guys are doing all right up there, because that shit is just, man, there's no words. And again, it's all a function of manipulation, right? It's not like they're doing anybody a favor or by choice. Like, they're not trying to go out of their way to improve your life. They're really just trying to fuck with the way things are and the way things should be, such that they're not, and they are anything but what they're supposed to be. And I don't think people realize that that's ultimately the goal. I mean, just look at this Kwanzaa bullshit. That ain't no real fucking holiday. You know, just like that Juneteenth bullshit. That ain't no real fucking holiday. But they got a lot of people invested in them fake ass days because they don't actually know shit. And that's the power of ignorance and media. You know, that's the power of media. And the danger in remaining and being ignorant. Imagine the number of people that die on those days because they have some emotional attachment to that lie. Because both of those days are just lies. You know, most of the historical events are fucking lies. And what they end up tantamounting to is a human sacrifice for them people. Because that's their end goal, is for you to end up killing yourself in this crazed way that makes no fucking sense. Because that is how they get their power. It's just like Monsters Inc. Think about it. Why is everything in the news always negative? And if you ain't never seen Monsters Inc. and you don't got kids, I tell you what, don't fucking wait. Do your homework. All them turns out, and because I didn't know, but turns out because it's gonna sound crazy, but I'm the type of person growing up, I ain't never ever wanted to or cared to watch a Disney movie. I never ever been to Disneyland. I never cared to go. I don't know if I'm just naturally whatever. Like I don't know how I just knew to not fuck with that. But I just never cared for Disney shit. Never. Like I've never been a fan. And that's very not normal for a kid, as you all probably know. So I didn't know about Disney stuff until I had my own. And I started seeing what the fuck they were doing in there. Because I never had to watch it. I never allowed myself to watch that shit. So if you don't know all these cartoons that these kids be watching, you know, that's where they allow well, it's really in entertainment in general, but really in them kid cartoons more than everything else. They really put the truth out there in mass. They don't hide nothing. They don't really hide anything. Excuse me. They do not hide anything. It's not that they really don't. They do not. They tell you outright to your face what they're going to do. And the fact that you do nothing is why they continue to win. And at this point, it's obvious and apparent to me that they're not the problem. We collectively are the problem because we are waiting for them to police themselves. And it's the dumbest thing in fucking history. And it's going to go down as the dumbest thing in history. Let's continue.
3 days of darkness. Let me tell you everything that I know. And Lord knows I do not want to make this video. I don't like to speculate, and I'm not given to internet conspiracy theories, but I have something that I have to tell you. I do see something here. I've been seeing it here for a long time. It's time to come clean. I moved my family out of Alaska because of a gut feeling. Wasn't the only reason. It was just the first one that caused me to look for all the rest. Maybe it's silly. Maybe none of this is true, but it bothered me so bad that I moved my family out of Alaska. This article was ran by Forbes over 6 years ago and can only help you speculate. This is the Edgar Cayce map, a clairvoyant communing with demons to see the future. Potentially total garbage. Only I don't think it is. Because this makes some kind of sense to me that I cannot explain. Now, until very recently, and I mean this month, I did not know that there was a correlation between total solar eclipses and devastating earthquakes. And now that I do, the plot is getting real thick, fam. In September of 1811, a total solar eclipse took this path through the United States. And in December of 1811, the New Madrid fault line popped off in a series of devastating earthquakes that lasted all the way through into January. Now, the scientists say there is increased earthquake activity in the face of new moons, a new moon being required for a total solar eclipse. There is a scientific correlation there that seems to have everything to do with causation. But it was 3 months after the eclipse. What's your point? If a barge goes under a bridge and hits one of the supports and damages it, there might be 2,000 vehicles roll over the bridge before it gives out, is what I'm saying. So that the new moon of a solar eclipse is like a barge passing under a bridge and hitting one of the supports. This is the path the total solar eclipse took in July 1963. Funny thing, it passed right through Talkeetna, Alaska, where my family and I lived, long before we were born. And then in March of 1964, a devastating earthquake tore Anchorage all to pieces. Solar eclipse is not an instant trigger. It's more like a fatal wound to the fault line. Doesn't mean there's going to be a terrible earthquake after every total solar eclipse, but every total solar eclipse affects the fault lines they pass over because of that new moon, scientifically. Whether I explain these events spiritually or physically, they are true both ways. It is the spiritual producing the physical. After the total solar eclipse of 1811, there was a series of devastating earthquakes, followed by years of decline straight into the Great Depression. Followed by the Great Depression, did you hear? Do total solar eclipses just mean earthquakes? No. They affect more than just fault lines. They warn of much more than just earthquakes. Look, if I could make this stuff up out of my own mind, I'd be God. Get it? But instead, look at us little bitty babies just learning about his creation, don't even know how it works. So, Rutro, what the stink is that converging right over top of the New Madrid fault? I mean, can you say X marks the spot? What is going on there? This is the path of the solar eclipse from August 21st of 2017. Well, nothing happened after that one, did it? It didn't warn of anything at all. Y'all forget about COVID and every single thing that has happened to our country since then? That wasn't enough to get your attention, get your minds right? Well, this is the path of that solar eclipse that's about to happen on April 8th. And the very spot where it crosses the path of the last one is the New Madrid fault line. Y'all don't see that right there? If you do not believe in God and only believe in science, that right there is alarming, bruh. And I mean, call the National Guard. See if they can stop it. Time for a bop.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but if there's one thing the internet has taught me is that everybody is an expert in something, myself included. I learned something else the other day about something similar to this with respect to these eclipses that I just never really thought to connect dots on, because there's only but so many fucking lies you can keep track of, right? I mean, what the fuck? And it's just gonna get more interesting moving forward. There's only but so much information a person can share and be like, yeah, this is gonna happen. Like, you guys know, we all know what's coming. Let's check out what the Simpsons got for us here. I'm gonna put on some other background music just because I'm tired.
What if is a symptom that torments individuals.
Sorry about that, guys. Freaking ad. I mean, my God. As a person that runs over bridges and frequently has to travel over bridges because I live in fucking New York, when I saw that, it was quite something, because I expect something like that to happen. I'm not a moron. I'm not telling these things just to scare you. These are things that are gonna fucking happen. And respecting reality is how we survive reality. And that's something that you really need to understand as a person that might not be in tune with everything that's going on and how it's going on, and you're just waking up now. Like, there are things that you got to just close your eyes and say fuck it to. Because if you don't know, either you got to take somebody else's word or learn real fast. And how fast can you learn? That's only a answer. You know the question. You know, that's only you know the answer to that question. Apparently, we have a portal into another dimension. They're doing this viewing on Google Earth. It looks really just like a pool of water to me, but what do I know? Look at the opposing pool setup. You know, like, what is that? It looks like a pool. So I'm not so sure that's a portal, homie. But it's interesting to look at nonetheless and think about. Because at this point, you know, anything's possible, man. Like, it's 2024, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all know better at this point. Shit just ain't TV no more. Shit is reality. And if you're not there yet, man, I hope you can get there fast. Because your future is dependent on understanding that. Like, and that's real talk. That is not even a joke. You know, that's really real. Because again, you know, it's funny. I was talking to my homie the other day. And we was talking about how shit shook out and all of that. Give me a second, guys. All right, sorry guys, I had to reply to some emergency messages there. So I was talking to my homie the other day, and we were talking about, you know, just obvious stuff, how you know, we are where we are, and you know, I don't know how to say it without sounding like a dick or whatever, you know, I don't know, but I mean, everybody was just okay with being lied to. You know, and people just don't know that that's what happened. A lot of people don't. Still, to this day, they still don't know. They still don't know 9/11 was a lie. You know what I mean? Like how do we? I mean, if Rona didn't wake you up, you know what is it gonna take? Right? Like, that's the real question. Like, that's where we're at right now, and you really need to find that answer. I mean, look at why we need crypto. We only need crypto because we do not know how to assert ourselves and our rights in the first place. Otherwise, we wouldn't have fake money. We wouldn't have any of the problems that we have as a result. This is a reality. That's a fact, not my opinion. Just do the math, do the history, do the checking. Just look, connect the dots. You know, everybody's really busy pretending that they're living a life that they're not even living because somebody else is forcing them to do stuff. All you're doing is what you're being forced to do. You're not living your life. You're not busy living no fucking life. You're busy being a fucking slave, and you're okay with that. And when I get like this, people get upset and they pussy tighten up in a bunch because they don't comprehend that they're the ones choosing slavery. It does not have to be this way. We allow it to be this way. There are a lot of people that don't live as W-2 slaves. And here's the thing. If people really educated themselves properly on what the issues are, they would really come to the realization that even the notion of money is pointless. It's fruitless. It's just, it forces us to play games we don't want to play. Straightforward. You know, it's really just like that. Who wants to wake up to go work a shitty job every day to the point that they have to come rely on some crap called crypto, but yet they can't really get that crap called crypto off the ground because it shouldn't even exist in the first place because they already have everything in the chokehold, period. So how do you actually position yourself for success? Like, what do we do now? I don't know. Because it's a you question, that it's a you answer. You know, and that's one of those things that people don't like to hear. But that's ultimately what's true, because at the end of the day, I don't know what you know. I just know what I know. And all I can do is tell you what I know and show you what I know. Think about it. Right? Like, I spend a lot of time thinking, and I don't know if it's because I spend a lot of time kind of in jail or whatever, but you know, when you get a lot of time to just think on things, you learn to fucking think on things. And these are one of those things you guys really need to think about. I mean, all right, you know what? I know what we're going to do now. We're going to go through this. I love these guys. Shout out to Macro Edge. If you guys don't follow them for up-to-date, relevant economic data. Right? Because what these guys do is they track real live economic data as best as possible. And we're going to go through their recent postings just to give you guys a flavor of what's actually going on. What is it that I'm seeing that has me like this with respect to the economy? You know, now all the things I've been talking about for years are coming to fruition in the data, right? And that's how you know time is almost up. And what I mean by that is, you know, we're talking about crypto, CBDCs, labor market. You know, labor market is really just another word for how easy is it to find a job or not. And, you know, it's like I told you guys on Twitter a few times at the beginning of the month when I was going to housing. And I always go early in the month, obviously, right? It's almost the beginning of the month again. So I'm going to go probably at some point this week. I just like to see what's actually, this is what I call my channel check, right? And what our channel check is, for those that don't know, is when you actually put your boots on the ground, go see what the hell is actually going on in the streets. It's one of the reasons why I run a lot. I get to see what's going on without having to go see what's going on, you know, but I just run. Anyway, when it's something like that where I don't run by a place or whatever at a certain point in time, I'll go visit physically. So anyway, I'm telling you, man, last month, it wasn't like it was this month. I had never seen lines like that in my life just to get in. So, you know, I don't know, man, but the economy has definitely changed, and we're going to get into it. This is unemployment rate for 18 months following Federal Reserve rate hiking cycles from 1969 to present day. So basically, every cycle minus 2 have seen an increase in the unemployment rate. Now, the important thing to understand about this so-called unemployment rate is that it does not measure the actual labor market. It only measures the components of the labor market that the Federal Reserve wants to measure. And yes, thank you, Parlay from far away. Hit the like and subscribe, motherfuckers. You know, shout out to everybody in the chat, everybody that's watching. You know, I just want to appreciate you guys for a second. Because, you know, I stream, I talk, I be saying crazy shit, and I know I come off crazy sometimes. But everything is with a purpose and a reason. You know, the other day I saw a comment in my YouTube or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't know how many times I have to explain this. And the reason was because I was doing a Q&A. It was for the Q&A stream. And the guy was like, how you going to have people ask you a question you're not going to have an answer? And I'm like, yo, did you not hear the rest of the damn fucking stream? You know, there was no answer to that question because I don't live where dude lives. You know, there's certain things that you, the individual, have to figure out, and that's the answer sometimes. And you don't want to hear that because, you know, I understand, but that's what it is. And the question in that instance was with respect to cashing out. You know, if you live in some place that's not like New York, I cannot tell you how to cash in or cash out. I'm sorry. Can't help you. You got to figure it out. It's a jurisdictional scenario, situation, etc. Whatever you want to call it. That is jurisdictional. I've always said that. That's not new. That's exactly how it works. And that is why people are losing this war. Because they don't even know that. They don't even know that. But they're out here trying to pretend they know shit about crypto. I mean, nobody knows how to move money. Nobody even understands what that phrase means. In reality, nobody does. And yet they pretend to know crypto. It's comical. I laugh at people that while they might be having fun doing a hobby, you know, I appreciate it. But once you disrespect yourself by disrespecting me and thinking that you and me are in the same category, I got to let you understand that we're not. Having an opinion is one thing. Having professional analysis underlying a fact with proof is something else, and that's what I do. Anybody that does that, well, they on the same level, aren't they? But it's about corroborating what claims you're making. You know, look at what Hex did before anybody even knew it existed. And people have the goal to say crazy shit like Hex and Pulse Chain and Pulse X and Inc. won't do what Hex did. What? Where are you even getting this idea from? Why would you lie to yourself like that? Why? I don't know, man, but people like to lie. And that's why you got to look up the facts. Right? I mean, in essence, this is right now. Hold on, guys. This is basically right now. And let me just take a quick look on the side to confirm. St. Louis. There you go. Dun, 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 dun. Employment rates. I'm just looking elsewhere. Yep. It's exactly what it looks like right now from 2019 to today. This is what it looks like. So the question is going to become, you know, what's next? And, you know, if you don't know, the following story that you're going to garner from going through the threads in this entity's Twitter handle is going to paint the picture pretty clearly. And shout out to everybody out there. In New York, it's fucking 60 degrees a day. After I'm done yapping to you guys, I'm going to go run, I don't know how many miles with no shirt on. It's going to be amazing. Because it's nice out. And it's not even like cold like that. So it's going to be real nice. Let's see. Yada, yada. Here we go. This is just one of the many data points. 1/3 of Americans would like to live in another country if they were free to do so. The highest percentage of the survey began in 1948. Now, here's a problem with this. A, there's nowhere to go because everywhere's the same. B, if Americans were clued in on anything outside the U.S., they would fucking know that and wouldn't have this stupid ass opinion. And that's kind of what's going on. So we'll just keep on going here. Yeah, the EV scam is pretty much over. This is just one example. 2023 Ford Mustang Mach, right? EGT electric SUV. Freedom discount is what they call it. And it's about a total of 33 from 54. So damn near a 60% reduction in price, man. I mean, what in the hell is going on? I mean, that shit is hilarious. Let's do the math. What was that? 33 divided by 54. 61%. Come on, man. That's just you just looking dumb. And here's the thing to understand, guys. Just from a high level perspective, that's the end result of price controls. That's the end result of just government intervention in general. Because we all see what they're trying to do. They're trying to impose this electric future on people that people don't want in a way that people definitely don't want it. And it's failing epically. Now, here in Brooklyn, there is a so-called Brooklyn Tower, a 93-story, 1,666-foot tower in downtown Brooklyn, being foreclosed on with $700 million in debt across 3 issues of debt that have all defaulted. Now, I don't even think this thing is done, if I remember correctly. And then on top of that, it fucking sways in the wind. Like, get the fuck out of here. Nah. And it's not the world. Like, it's not World Trade Center, so I'm not rocking with that. Nah. We already know how they build shit nowadays. So no thank you. We'll keep going through the data points here. March 29th. Job cuts tracker. So what this is, in essence, is the number of jobs that have been lost that they have accounted for every day of the month as they are able to track it. And by the beginning of the year, or end of the last year, however you want to view it, the highest figure so far was 103,000. Now, what I'd like to bring to your attention is the fact that we didn't just hit another sine wave note back down to the 30s. We are persistently in the 70s. So, unless something just magically happens here in April, like, to make it go down, like that shit just probably gonna stay like that or go up. Because as we're gonna see, it's just company after company just cutting people for no reason. Because what in the environment has changed? Honestly, what's changed? And in reality, the only thing that's changed is that now you're going to see a ton of headlines like this. General Electric will lay off 1,000 employees in its wind energy and power division. That's a gimme. Get Greta on line 3 to see what she thinks on it, because we don't give a fuck. Because this is 1,000 people that shouldn't even be employed in the first place. So they can go find jobs elsewhere. Tupperware warns it could go out of business over liquidity problems in an SEC filing made today. Delays 10K filing for fiscal year 2023. There can be no assurance, quote, there can be no assurance with respect to the timing of completion of the filing, end quote. Yo, Tupperware employs 11,000 people. I didn't even know this. This is insane. Who stopped buying Tupperware? The fuck? Is that bad out there? That these guys can't even put together financials? Like, people just said fuck plastic? Like, what's going on here? Oh. The company which earlier delayed. This is um, quarterly file. For those that don't know, you are, excuse me, but a 10K is 10K is just the financial report. You have to do three looking like $1.34. 52-week range, $5.87. So trade's already out. Unless you want to trade it to a zero. Looks like you already missed that chance though. Best trade already happened. So this would be a bankruptcy trade. So this one is something I would put in the sentiment bucket if it was me. It'd be somebody to come in and buy it. That's what it reads like. But you want to see that trade in the cents first. I wouldn't touch it yet. Excusez-moi. And once again, happy Easter to those that dabble. Now check this out, guys. I was gonna send out a tweet on this, but I figured I'd just talk about it instead. The number of CEOs resigning. The CEOs resigning rose 28% month over month in March. Oh, sorry, in February. Because they haven't done March yet. So that's for February. The highest number of CEO departures in a single month on record. On record. And what you might not know. Oh, my mic is jacked up? Let me know if you guys are having problems hearing me. Because I can't hear myself, so I don't really know. So just let me know, guys. Otherwise, I'll just go back. All right, cool. Thank you. So let me just read this again. The number of CEOs resigning rose 28% month over month, marking the highest number of CEO departures in a single month on record per Challenger. Now, the thing to really be in tune with is that every time CEOs start dropping out of the workforce in mass, that's a sign that the market is about to crash. They do it every time. It happened in 2020. Happened in 2018. I mean, there's a chart I'm probably going to come across in here somewhere. It's going to show it, but this chart is only showing through 2020. But as you can see, anytime we get up in this range, something crazy happens, and we're back up here again. You know, we were just here, nothing happened. So now we're at a higher point than ever before. So, you know, like with volatility and its expansion, the market is now used to CEOs just dropping out. So when the number gets crazy, right, that's when you gotta be like, wow, what the hell's going on? And here's just another view of that jobs cut tracker that we saw in line form earlier. There have been tracked 468,912 job cuts since they began the live layoff tracker. I mean, that's insane, man. This is just from September 2023, 6 months. 500,000 jobs. Poof. 6 months. And this is what's really happening. Unless these people just are not really employed and all of this is made up. Right? I mean, I don't know. I know people that have been getting laid off. Yeah. Cabrini University was shut down. I mean, a lot of fake schools are shutting down. I never heard no Cabrini University. 363 employees. Good for them. Oak Point University, another one. Shut down in 3 weeks. 145 staff. Gone. Probably should have never been in existence. You know, school's pointless in most cases. IKEA now laying off in California because the Golden State economy is so strong. Yep. Let's see. We were just seeing news about a news tip about a major truck dealership brand having cash issues. Interesting, especially due to the recession in trucking logistics. Ouch. Pride Group files for bankruptcy to protect itself for probably going to try to restructure or something. Yeah. Yeah. So, and again, that's just one trucking company, right? That's common. Board riders laying off 590 employees in California. Not sure what kind of company they are, but it's just another one of those things. And I mean, having a business in California is like, why the fuck would you even do that? Like how stupid are you? You know what I mean? Like, you know that little about math that you think that makes sense? To set up a business where you just gotta pay because you exist. You don't even gotta make money. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Philadelphia Fed says current U.S. payrolls overstated by what? At least 800,000 bodies. Now, these are the people that put out the official economic data points that people rely on to make decisions with financial decisions that will determine, trillions of dollars worth of whatever. And they're lying every chance that they can and aren't afraid to do it because they know that they're going to tell you at some point in the near future, hey, we were lying, man. And you're just going to be okay with it. Because what do they call it? A revision. And that's just code for we were lying in your ass. This is the real number now. Months after you done bought the bag and you left holding it. I mean, come on, man. Job cuts tracker already went over that. Blackstone sells approximately $1 billion in California real estate to some entity called Rexford Industrial. Excuse me, guys. So those are industrial assets, apparently. Commercial real estate, in other words. Commercial real estate comes in many forms. Industrial land is just one of the many. Office buildings, another nexus. China's real estate major Country Garden delays its earning report and will suspend trading. This right here could lead to this market that seems to just chop sideways. This is the NASDAQ. Right? Let's get rid of all this shit. This is the NASDAQ basically for the past 6 months. All right, we look at the S&P, we're going to get the same deal. It's just chugging along. Right. At some point, when markets start trading like this, where they're just hovering, it reminds me of 2012 and up and on. For those of you that weren't around, let's just go back in time a little bit. What I said. What did I say? Point is, at some point, the ride just ends. And it doesn't seem like it's ever going to end, but it ends kind of like this. And that's how people get wiped out because, look, it comes back to near the point where it took off from. Every time. Right? And it seems, because, you get a big run up, run down. Right? Question is, how big is the down going to be? And can you hold on? Right? That's always the question. And this is how wealth transfers from A to B. This is how markets cycle up and down, these fluctuations that humans cause to happen because they're engaged in the market in most instances, not based on analytics, but based on emotion, fear and greed. And that typically leads to bad decision making, as we all know. I mean, this is just 2015, right? Look, finally, a choppy year. From 2012 to 2015, it was just straight up. So, a choppy few years really isn't anything. 2015, 2016, it just kept going up. After 2016, it's kind of like 2022 and what we're seeing, or yeah, wasn't it 2022 that went down, then 2023 went up, something like that? Let's see. Yeah, 2022 was down. 2023 kind of went up to sideways, and now we got that pullback move into October that we saw in the charts before, right? That I showed you guys a minute ago in 2012 or earlier. Is that pullback move to clear out the people that thought they were safe when they bought here, right? Because the market just went slightly below, just ever so below that previous low. And that cleared out all these people that thought they were good buying all the shit over here, right? And then what happens? The market just fucking takes off. Max pain. And same thing with the NASDAQ. It's just the same move. It has so much more momentum behind it that you get much more shallow retracements relative to the S&P. It's just not as dramatic down, but it's all the same, right? We look 2022 down, 2023 bottom, got the pullback move, bomb went off, but we had the super duper shallow pullback move. I mean, compared to what happened in the S&P came all the way down here, relatively speaking, right? Let's go back. See that? October. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not even close. It's not even close at all. Shit, let's do a price range check. It might be similar in depth because the NASDAQ is just a high flyer. And I'll explain in a minute. That's 12% relative to, let's see what we get here. Yeah, 10%. So why is it that this is so much more relative to the reach? All right, so let me do this too. Didn't think of that. This is 17%, right? So basically 12 divided by 17. What does that end up looking like? And of course, that's over 50%, right? 70%. So how do you retrace? How do you hold on to a retracement of 70% to not get shaken out of a 30% move, which is what's happening right now, or the market is in the midst of doing right now? 25% so far, right? And that's just the S&P. What's the NASDAQ doing? Let's see. All right, hold on. Let me see my starting point for the S&P here. March. All right. Gonna just similarly line up the dates just so you guys can see how the game is played. So the NASDAQ went up 30% at the same time, where it only did a 12% pullback, right? Like 12, 13%, let's say 15 just to be generous about it. Really just 12 and a half, right? And now, how far has it gone from that point? Already at 27%, 28%, right? Where's the S&P at? 25. So you see, that's one of the reasons why people trade NASDAQ more. It just moves more. The pullbacks are less. Like, it's just easier to trade because it's going to show you its hand quicker, right? S&P, not so much. Mid caps, even less so. I mean, look at what the mid caps did. The mid caps came all the way back. It retraced all of that. Because this is March. I'm sorry, this is March right here. It went way past. And then look, it went all the way up. And we're encroaching on new highs. And we making new highs in the mid cap. And it's stuff like that. I mean, that's how markets shake people out. Max pain. You know, that's what that means. These are the small cap stocks. And as you can see, there's not as much interest in these because it's nowhere near highs, right? Look at the NASDAQ, new highs. S&P, new highs. Mid cap just made new highs. Nobody cares about the little guys, though. So what does that tell you? You know, you got to realize that when things are centralized, that is how they work. I just showed you. That is evidence of where the money is flowing. Global, supranational, international entities. Not domestic, not small business. Nope. International corporations are the ones getting the love. Look, China is getting ready to take off. I've already talked about these markets before. You know, if you got Hong Kong dollars, this is a good couple tickers to just buy and get long on the pullback. There'll be a pullback, a shake. There's always a shakeout pullback. And you know, they got to figure out how to get people to not dump everything because of the dollar. Because look, the dollar keeps going up. No matter what these stocks are doing, making these highs, you know, the dollar keeps shooting higher. And you guys got to understand, even though we're not making all-time highs, it still matters that the dollar is going up at the same time that equities are going up. It's relevant because typically that's a sign of somebody's buying dollars and selling stocks somewhere at a pretty significant clip to the point that the dollar has gone up. Let's see how many percent. 2%. Now, for a currency, that's a whole lot. Think about it as a 20% equivalent type of move for a regular market in a short span of time. Right? That's important to understand because that's not normal. Right? If you look at this move over here, let's go with a price. Talking about 11 bars, 18 days over here for what? 2%, right? Yep. So let's check this big old move over here. This was 33 bars in 48 days. 2 times the distance. So it took it 3 times as, 3 times as long to go 2.5 times as far. Or 2.25 times as far. I mean, you know, the market, when it moves like that, it's for a reason, right? And let's see what happened during this period of time to the equity markets. Let's see. This was December 23rd through February 2024. Oh, so that was just the other day. That's when markets were bottoming out. Bottoming out, wasn't it? December 2023. Yeah, let's. Oh, I'm crazy. Let's look over here. December 2023. Yeah, they were going lower to setting up for that move higher. That's what they were doing. Let me see where the dollar. $28th December, 13th February. Let's just look at the S&P real quick. 28th December. Yeah, ain't that something? So 28th December basically marked the interim top, the local top for the end of the year. And by 5th of January, that market was bottomed out. And by the 17th of January, market was done going sideways for the most part. However, you still saw currencies, the dollar specifically, trade higher through mid-February, and now it's going side. Then it went retraced that move about 50%, and now we're going back up again. So, are we about to run into a wall here shortly since we're running up again? That's basically the question I was getting at after we were looking at all this other data, all the other economic data, right? Because that's what all this economic data leads to. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the sounds in the background. I mean, China's real estate major. China's 1.6 billion people. How major is this? Country garden, man. I mean, come on. This is insane. Let's see what this guy has to say. The Fed has no intention of ever reducing their balance sheet to normal levels. Yes, agreed and obvious in my opinion. When they fire up the computer purchasing programs, the wealth gap is going to go from insane to permanent. Yeah, that's a fact. So if you want to see the future, economically, that is, of what America is going to look like here shortly, just look at third world countries that you know of to be third world countries. That is what it's going to be here. That's the point of getting rid of the middle class, so that the people are too beat down, too downtrodden, too economically disincentivized to focus on anything else but survival. I mean, I grew up with that frame of mind. I'm telling you, this is a fact, not an opinion. That's exactly why they're trying to wipe out the middle class. They don't want you to think that you could do better, be better, achieve anything, displace them in any which way. That's ultimately their goal, so that you understand that. Now, let's keep going through these data points. Wells Fargo is reportedly laying off another 1,000 people. Like, I don't even know why Wells Fargo is still in existence. Cisco is reportedly gearing up for his next round of job cuts in mid-April. UPS announcing it will close 2,000 source centers in modernization push. UPS. Everybody was just like trying to work for them last week. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how quickly things turn around. Because, they were trying to make it sound like they were really looking out for employees. But nah, we paying them too much. We gotta find a way to cut costs. Because for any business, in case you don't know, the biggest expense is labor. LA's gas company tower, valued at $632 million in 2020, 4 years ago, now just worth fucking 66+% less, at $200 million, as it faces foreclosure, carrying $465 million in loans. Now, I'd like to bring to your attention the fact that 632 minus 200 is 432, meaning this property is underwater with 465 million in loans, if it is just worth 200 million, on top of the fact that it was only valued at 632 million. So not only is it underwater at 2020 prices, it's underwater at 2009 levels in 2024. Amazing. Let's see what we got here. Notice of asset sale for the gas company tower located at yada yada was filed last week with LA County Recorder's Office, setting the stage for a foreclosure sale as soon as 90 days after the filing. And here's the thing you guys probably don't even understand. For all we know, it's the same company that already owns it that's going to come and buy it in that foreclosure asset sale. Because that's how the game works. Those that know, know. Those that don't play. Sweden's Riksbank leaves rates unchanged at 4%, but signals likely future cuts in May. Uh-oh. Is that another central bank that I hear saying what's been said before by the obvious, the yield curve spread that I constantly show you guys, the 2-year minus the Fed funds? Yeah, that's exactly what they're talking about. But they don't want to make it obvious. So they got to slowly turn the boat around and make it seem like it's there now, just seeing what's going on. That's how that works. We've already seen this, that's not. Boston Public Schools eliminate up to 670 positions and $1.5 billion cost-cutting drive. Yeah, guess what they're gonna do? Replace these 670 people with a bunch of motherfucking illegals. That's what they're gonna do. They just not telling you that yet. You'll see it. Amazon to reduce expense by $1.3 billion by cutting office footprint. It's Amazon. I don't even offices where I don't know. Ford is eliminating 700 positions through buyouts due to much worse than expected lightning sales. Yeah, people are broke apparently. Stellantis will now eliminate over 3,000 jobs in Italy after an agreement was reached with the union. Good luck, guys. Pizza Hut's U.S. president has resigned amid slowing sales. I cannot believe Pizza Hut still has operations in the U.S. Who the fuck buys that trash? I don't know, but apparently somebody's buying it. I can't believe it. Vodafone's German business plans to lay off 2,000 employees. Now, if you guys don't know, that's one of the telecom competitors. I don't know I think that's like the Verizon equivalent out there, if I remember correctly. Point is, it's a big employer, so that's a major headline for Germany. Low-income consumer lending conglomerate Kudo Group Holdings Corp. And affiliates has filed for bankruptcy in Texas. Now, when things like this happen, guys, these low-income businesses that were once huge behemoths and all of that, because this is Texas. So, you got a lot of immigrants and people that are actually coming over here to do what we're doing, working and shit. But they're low-income people, so they gotta deal with these secondhand entities that are just really robbing them blind. And the thing is that that's not a sustainable business model, right? It's like payday loans. You can't do that shit forever. You can only rob people out of 500% of their paycheck, but for so long before they're broke. And that's kind of what happens here. The United States hits an all-time low in its world happiness ranking this year as Americans battle dealing with skyrocketing cost of living, irresponsible politicians, a declining birth rate, drug crises, and more as reasons for the huge decline. Now, I'll tell you what, I'm as happy as I've ever been. My life has never been better. I'm not in line with any of this shit. I might as well be in Costa Rica according to this fucking chart, because that's how my shit going. I don't know about y'all, but my life improves because I'm fully aware of what's going on, where I'm at, and I don't buy into the madness at all. It's all irrelevant to me. Everything that is bullshit and ain't right, I don't engage. It's not relevant. No, is my answer to it all. Blah. We're not even gonna get into that. McKinsey & Co. has warned U.S. consultants this week they are quickly running out of time to win promotion, raising the upper out pressure on staff as company struggles. It's funny. This is funny. They determine promotion based on number of citizens a consultant gets hooked on opiates. That's funny. I mean, I can't even get into that nexus of that joke. If you don't get it, I'm sorry, but I could do a whole stream on just that alone. And that's why we really can't touch it. I'm not trying to be a dick. Like, that's a whole other scam, that management consulting shit right there. If you've seen Office Space, If you guys have seen the movie Office Space, the Bobs are the management consultants. Yeah. Might have to watch that after the run today, man. I love that movie, yo. That movie, man. I don't know what it is about that movie, but I never get tired of watching it. Never. S&P Global Ratings lowered its outlook on 5 banks. First Commonwealth Financial Corp, M&T Bank Corp, Synovus Financial Corp, Trustmark Corp, and Valley National Bank Corp. Let's see if there's any follow-up as to why. Nope. The Japanese yen has hit its lowest level to the dollar since 1990. And if you've been following whales, you already knew this was coming because he done told you on this one too. And we talk about the yen. Here it is from time to time. Let's just go all out and go 34 days per candle here. Let's get rid of the volume just so we can get a clear picture here. We're going back to 2001 on this chart. 2000, excuse-moi. And the top, i.e. the low in the US dollar yen, or the top for this pair in this version was in 2011. I was in college at the time. I remember this shit because I was trading that shit, or at least trying to. And I just didn't really understand what was going on like that yet. I was still too new to the game in terms of my macro understanding. And boy, if only, if only, because all of this was planned, coordinated. This whole move was coordinated. This shit ain't no surprise. The question is, what happens now that we're at their limit, their so-called theoretical limit? That's the question. And if you guys can see what I see on a 34-day chart, let's see what the 55-day look like. Ooh, let's see. So what's interesting about the indicator and how I have it drawn up is that while you don't see an outright positive divergence, what ends up happening is that the market will at some point find a bottom, right? And I'm just saying it like that because I don't know that this is the bottom yet. But at some point in this price area, the market will find a bottom. And what's going to happen is that this line at the bottom in the bottom pane, it might stay flat like that. Hell, it might even lean down a little bit. But you have to remember that, or should I say I got to remember, because it's my indicator that I drew up. Now this, when you look at this, you got to understand that this is using trigonometry to determine angle, the angular density of the move, if you want to consider it something like that. So in essence, the tension of the move. So basically, at some point, this is going to stop going up or down because this is already flat. It can't go lower unless it just snaps, right? But at some point, there has to be some relief on this pressure. And that's what this is saying at this point after a 55-day candle, right? You go 34 days, it's perched way higher than the previous peak, thereby supporting my analysis on the 55-day candle. Now, if we go to 21 days, what do we see? Even bigger dip, right? Relatively speaking. However, same as in the previous instance, right? You got a higher low on the momentum side of things, and that's what you want to see. All right, we'll skip down to 8, same deal. And as you guys can see now, as the market is finding that trend exhaustion, right? And how do you know that? Well, it keeps trying to bounce up, and this is really just shorts covering. But what happens is that the market just keeps going lower because there's still sellers in the market. It just isn't there yet, right? And we go down to the 3-day, and we're zooming in now to like basically what's happened over the past 2 years. And as you guys can see, the down motions just keep getting smaller and smaller. I mean, you run out of runway room at some point, right? You gotta land a plane sometime. And if this is against the dollar, right? Meaning the dollar is weaker. Or I'm sorry, the dollar is stronger than the yen every time it ticks down. You gotta ask yourself, what can flip that relationship such that this becomes that? That's how you have to look at markets. That's the frame of mind you have to try to put yourself in. What flips that chart upside down from a high level perspective so that you can then start drilling down into those micro moves that you're trying to catch, right? Because that's the thing. I don't ever talk about Hex and Pulse Chain and or any other cryptos like this because there's no need to. All you got to do on that side of the house is DCA, because that is just like this. They've had so many stock splits that it won't even show you the logic. Let's see. All right, there we go. I mean, when I think about crypto, this is what I think about. And I mean real crypto, not the shit coins people be dabbling in. This is what I think about. I don't think about anything else. This is what I think about. Because I plan to hold it that long. Such that all these tickers that I'm typing in that don't mean anything, because I'm a trillionaire because I got that much crypto, and so is anybody else that has that much crypto, because guess what? Just like nobody was buying these internet stocks back in the day, nobody's buying real crypto today. And as I stated earlier, the reason we need crypto is because nobody understands that they don't know how to assert their rights. They don't know how to defend themselves. They don't have really the ability to defend themselves. We live in an era where the state can essentially dictate to you whatever the hell they want, and you just deal with it. And we're getting to a point now where that's no longer going to be viable. People have to find ways to make life work, because soon enough, it's not going to be working. And it's because, I sold this. I used to own AMD. I sold the stock literally here. Probably the summer. Yeah, it was probably here. I probably bought it at like 6 and change and sold it like $2 or $1. I didn't know any better. But I was an active motherfucker that thought he did. All I had to do was buy and forget. And I had a lot of AMD. And I just didn't know. I didn't know any better. It's just buy and forget. I mean, I don't know how many examples people need, but apparently many. And crypto, that's how you need to look at it, folks. Anything less, you're just doing yourself a disservice. I mean, I don't know how you expect to see $70,000 per coin in anything if you're not willing to just forget that you own it. I mean, nobody was buying it at 25,000. Nobody was talking about it at 15,000. 5,000, forget about it. And these are the things you got to think about when you're thinking about markets, man. Oh, everybody hates it? Amazing. Let me buy all of it. That's literally the thought process you need to have. Now, here's a dollar yen from a market perspective. And by market, I mean interbank markets, meaning people that don't trade futures. So everybody else. When they hear the dollar yen, this is what they think about. Even though they mention, the yen going lows or whatever, they understand that because the dollar yen is at 151, almost 152. That's what that means, because it's 151 units of $1, so $151 to 1 yen. So 100 yen, right, is it's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money for us. So um, I don't even know, man. This shit here is just crazy. But eventually, what's gonna happen? You got this pennant flag formation situation here setting up, right? But you have waning momentum on the upside, right? You have these highs, but you have this waning momentum, right? What you don't want to see is more momentum staying under that area, and you definitely don't want to see another dip like this, whereby you do have another move into this zone again after a move lower and then a move back high into the zone. Because what that's definitely going to print is those islands that I say people don't want to see on the top. Because that island, you get like a little run. And what it'll end up being is like a little shakeout, something like that over here. But only higher over here. And then puke. Because this is a perfect almost ascending wedge to make that happen. And typically, with these wedges, the way they work, if there is waning momentum, price goes contra to the direction it was going. And that's kind of the setup we have here. So it's actually pretty dangerous for the central bank of Japan at this point. Because they could really do themselves a disservice by intervening in the market in any which way. And I don't know if that's their goal. I don't know. It could be, I don't know. But things to be aware of, right? Because why would it make sense for your country's currency to look like that? I mean, why does this make sense? I don't know. I don't have a PhD. I don't want one. But apparently, that's what it requires to understand this. And I mean, this is a joke, yo. You know what I'm saying? It's a joke. And I'm seeing the comments, right? People are making in here, and yeah, it's really the idea that underpins everything I'm trying to help people understand. That's why my first video was really the only one I intended to make. Anything past that, and you're gonna fuck it up. And that's literally what everybody's doing out here in fake crypto land. And look, if you dabble in shit coins, yo, you fucking with fake crypto. I don't give a fuck what your excuse is, it don't matter. That's what you're doing. And you're liable to lose the opportunity of a lifetime by fucking with bullshit. I just don't understand. I don't care. But you need to be buying within your means, doing what you can do, and being focused on the mission if you really understand what the mission at hand is. It's not hard. It just requires discipline and understanding. But you really can't be hell-bent on lying to yourself, letting other people dissuade you with misinformation when you're not even sure about what you're doing. You got to work on that first and foremost. Figure out why you're doing what you're doing is critical. I can talk shit all I want to people that don't want to learn. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I say. It matters what you do. And I think people have a hard time realizing that. I'm just a conduit for information. Ultimately, it's on you to do what you got to do. You want to achieve these ridiculous gains? I mean, you got to put in the work. You got to understand what you got to do. It's not going to just magically happen one night because you fell asleep and dreamed it, and then you woke up the next day and that was it. That's not how it works, folks. So let's keep our eyes on the prize. Let's let those that don't know any better do us the favor of giving us ridiculously, insanely cheap prices that we can benefit from. I know I'm not out here trying to help those fools at all. I'm not, because guess what? Everything is on record. Everybody got receipts. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. I'm here putting out the right information. I'm not hiding it. But guess what? If those people are going to sell ignorantly, well, more power to them, because it's more powerful for me. And that's exactly how you should be viewing that scenario. Life is good. Take advantage of the rest of this beautiful Sunday. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm out. Peace. This is Whales Only. Glad you guys can make it out. I'm making some claims that are pretty outlandish, but I can back them up. Boom. End of story. There is no other crypto out there, so don't get it twisted. If you don't understand where you're parking your money, you're going to pay the consequences for that, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. Boom. We're obliterating everybody. Literally. There is nobody else that comes close to what Hex has done. Boom. Oh, it's about to get funky. Funkier than you could have ever imagined. You know, Richard Hart is a boss. Hex is literally the best thing on the planet. It's simple mathematics.